You ever just look at Tesla's stock price and think, how? I mean, seriously, how does one company that sells cars get valued more than pretty much every other major automaker on the planet combined? It doesn't seem to follow the normal rules of business. Well, that right there is the trillion-dollar question we're going to tackle, and let me tell you, the answer has a lot less to do with cars than you might think. Okay, let's start with a number that's causing all this fuss, $1.4 trillion. That's the neighborhood we're in for Tesla's market value in 2025. This isn't just a number, it's a massive statement. It's the whole mystery we're here to unravel. What in the world are investors seeing that could possibly justify a number this big? And this is where the puzzle gets really mind-bending. Look at this. It's not just that Tesla is worth a lot. Its valuation completely dwarfs many of the legacy automakers put together. We're not talking about a small gap here. This is a Grand Canyon-sized chasm. So what's going on? Are investors just going crazy overvaluing a car company? Or are they valuing something else entirely? To get to the bottom of it, here's how we're going to break it down. First, we'll dig into this trillion-dollar puzzle. Then, we'll get into the main idea that Wall Street sees Tesla as way more than a car company. From there, we'll explore the huge bet they're making on its AI future. But of course, we've got to look at the potential roadblocks that could throw a wrench in the whole thing before we finally try to answer that big question. Is Tesla a car maker, or is it a future AI giant? So let's just lay that puzzle out on the table one more time. How is a valuation this huge even possible for a company that, if you just look at the number of cars it sells, is just one of many players out there? And the answer, really, is that the market isn't playing by the old rules. It's not valuing Tesla as a traditional car company at all. It's a completely different game. This quote right here gets to the absolute heart of it. Musk has always framed Tesla as an AI and robotics company first. The cars, they're not just the product, they're the tools. They're a giant global fleet of rolling sensors, just soaking up unbelievable amounts of real-world data. And that data is the fuel for a much, much bigger emission. So this really gives you two completely different ways to look at the company. If you value it as a car company, you're looking at today's sales, today's profit margins. But if you value it as a tech company, well, you're not buying the present at all. You're betting on the future. You're betting on the potential of its AI, its software, its robots. And that is where that trillion-dollar number comes from. All right, so what does this AI future actually look like? What's the story that has investors so captivated that they're willing to place such an enormous bet? Well, it really comes down to three potentially world-changing pillars. First up, the Holy Grail. Full self-driving, or FSD. Second, the incredibly ambitious Optimus humanoid robot. And third, a whole new next-gen vehicle platform to make cheaper Teslas for the masses. You see, each one of these isn't just a new product, it's a potential new industry for Tesla to completely own. Now, the robotaxi network, this is a huge piece of that dream. Just imagine a future where millions of Teslas aren't just sitting in a garage. Their owners can send them out to work as fully autonomous Ubers while they're at their job or even sleeping, just generating income. This totally flips the business model from selling a car once to selling high-margin software as a service over and over. This is probably the single biggest idea fueling that stock price. And, there's a human side to all this too. For a little while, a lot of investors were getting nervous that Elon Musk's attention was split between all his different companies. But his renewed focus on Tesla, plus him putting his own money where his mouth is by buying more stock, that sent a really powerful signal to the market. It basically said, hey, I believe in this plan more than ever. But as you can imagine, a story this big is never going to be that simple. The road to this AI future is absolutely littered with massive hurdles, and any one of them could potentially derail this whole thing. We're looking at three big headwinds here. First, the competition in the EV space is getting fierce, especially from China. Can Tesla keep its edge? Second, are regulators ever going to be comfortable with true self-driving cars on public roads at a massive scale? That is a huge unknown. And third, the pressure is on for Tesla to actually deliver on that promise of cheaper cars to keep the growth machine humming. And that competition isn't some far-off threat. It's having a real impact right now. It's forcing Tesla into price wars, especially in places like China, and that puts a direct squeeze on those super high profit margins that have always been one of the company's biggest bragging rights. This is that dose of reality that keeps bumping up against the futuristic growth story. So all of this brings us right back to our main question. We've seen the incredible promise, but we've also seen the very real dangers. So what's the final call? Is this a car maker or an AI giant just waiting to hatch? So here's the verdict. The analysis is pretty clear. Tesla's trillion-dollar valuation today has very little to do with the cars it's selling right now. What it really is a massive collective portfolio bet from investors on an AI-driven future. The cars we see on the road, they're just the proof of concept. They're the physical evidence that Tesla can build the incredibly complex hardware and software that might just make that future possible. So we have to leave you with this question to chew on. Do you think Tesla's massive market cap is actually justified by its wild potential in AI? Or, at the end of the day, is it still just a car company that has gotten way, way ahead of itself?